Good morning. Our hand today is going to be 10-9 of clubs. We are six-handed under the gun. We open raise, folds around, small blind calls, and we see a flop. Our early position bet standard, even with six-handed. I'm just gonna make this play. I don't like playing short-handed. I feel more comfortable playing full ring. Perhaps a big part of that is just swings, maybe the variance. But in this situation, it is a full table. We're down to 6 at this point. I'm under the gun. I typically stick to my under the gun raising range here. So this is what I'm playing. The blind, I'm going to give him a range that looks like this, almost 11%. He's playing 2018. Just, looking at the numbers, it's, 3-bet is 0, but there's only 22 opportunities. He doesn't usually call. You see call 2-bets. That kind of makes me think that perhaps he's going to be heavy on like some pocket pair hands, hoping to catch trips, or maybe some speculative hands. He's out of position, and so forth. We do have notes on him. So we've got maybe his raise first in seems to be a min raise, and not like a traditional like 3 big blinds or 2.5 big blinds and so forth. We've got a situation where he raised the C bet in position with ace king on a queen jack 8 monotone board. That's kind of interesting. But then you have called 2 bets from the blinds with jacks, called 3 bets out of position with jack 10 off, called 3 bets in position with ace king off. We don't have a huge number. I'm just going to go with this. I think these are hands that a player like this might limp, especially some of these big suited Broadway hands. It's questionable whether he has all of those. I'm just going to leave him in because it doesn't really, it's only about 1% of hands or so. So we're going to go forward. Flop comes out queen 10-4, rainbow. So we've got a middle pair. We're going to expect him to check, and that means it's on us. What kind of hands do we bet? Well, let's just kind of break it down on what kind of drawing hands we have. We've got open-ender, we've got a gut shot. I think we include those in our C betting range. That's 24%, and then you need about 12% for value. And I think for the value, if we look at, overpair plus, so overpair 2-pair set, that gives us 17%. Just that alone means we're going to have to find some more draws. I think villain's hand is somewhat tight, range versus range, in sizes. I don't think we're going to be like C betting 100%. I don't think we're going to be C betting, 10%. I think we're going to be someplace in the middle, maybe 50, 60, 70%, probably up closer to 70%, since we do have position, and position's valuable. So I think at a minimum, we're doing overpair plus, and then you're throwing in maybe some of these pocket pairs below the second cards. So 6s and 7s gets us to 34%. So it's 2 bluffs for every 1 value. We could throw in a top pair hand as well. So when we talk about top pair, once we add those, that's at 32%. Now we're even, and that means then we'll probably need to add the rest of our hands. And that's possibly right. Maybe we just do all, all of our hands here. And you've got open ender. You've got some hands that we don't. So that's 93%. That might be about accurate. So yeah, I think we're going to be checking to see what GTO says on this hand too. So yeah, I think we're going to go with 93%. I think the other added benefit of betting is that villain does have a lot of these pocket pairs in his range. And I'm not sure if he could call with them. So for a lot of our hands, for a lot of these bluffs that, our draws and stuff, pocket pair less than these, I think we'd be fine with getting some folds, especially if we bet with sixes and we get sevens, eights, or nines to fold. That would be a pretty good outcome. So villain checks, I'm going to say not surprising. And then I check behind. I'm not sure if I like this. Based on our read, I don't really like it. When we think about what other hands, I mean, that is a middle pair hand. We have middle pair. We've got backdoor flush draw as well. We could easily bet. If we get called, we can, probably start to check behind on the turn a bit more, especially if we're betting at 93%. We're probably then only barreling the turn, maybe 60% or so. So we're really scaling it back on the turn, but we're going to target the player, on the flop, especially when this kind of hits a lot. It's us a lot. Now this is also going to hit villain because he does have these Broadway hands. So maybe this isn't. Maybe let's check. Maybe we're much more of a balanced strategy, a mixed strategy here. But don't know if I necessarily like this. So what we're gonna do is just kind of add all of the no made hands and say that we check this 6.9%, which really isn't much. And we'll go from there. So I don't really know if I like that check. And then 5 of clubs comes out, improves our position. Villain bets. Now on this part, villain leads into us, so we had already just kind of showed weakness. I think sets, 2 pair, top pairs probably betting here at this point. Maybe pocket pair less than the top card, don't really know, but I think definitely it's going to be at least top pair plus, which, if we get rid of this, top pair is 23%, everything else is 32%, so 32% of hands he might be leading here. I don't think we have, let's see here, let's check the flop. The turn. Yeah, first time he's made one of these bets. So we'll go with that. And then, we need 25% equity to call based on our hands, the hands that we have left. I think if we call the flush draw, we're close. It's close. We're gonna have to make a little bit of money. You can see we're only, according to this, we're only like 21%. So we're not quite at the 25, but I think if a club gets there, we can at least figure one more bet, a larger bet, and I think that would make this then a reasonable call. So I assume I do call, and then 2 spades comes out. Villain checked. And now at this point, I think maybe he's at a top pair. I don't think set or 2 pairs is going to check here. I think a top pair might check, especially if it's something like a king queen or queen jack. So that's gonna kind of be what I look at. I guess maybe he could have an under pair as well, maybe like a jacks or a 10. We have showdown value in this spot, so I don't really think there's any value to be betting here. Now, how the hand played out with missing the C bet, I don't really have anything, so this would be a pure bluff, and I'm not even sure if this is gonna be a good bluff. He already bet. We have to know the villain, know that he's capable of probing as a bluff on that turn, and I don't think we know that yet. So we bet half pot, and I think if we're gonna bet, I don't think we can bet half pot. I think we need to bet larger. I think we need to bet like pot to apply more pressure. We are deep. He's deep. Again, I'm just not sure if this is going to work or not. So he did call. So that means when we go back to his turn play and he probes, we're going to have to add probably jacks, and middle pairs, and maybe even these pocket pairs below the second card. So if we do that, now we're looking at a situation where we are getting the odds to call once we start including those weaker hands, because we are ahead, with our 10. We're ahead of the 9s and the 8s and so forth. So then the 2 gets there, and he checks to us and we bet. The question is, what does he continue checking? And again, top pairs, maybe he bets, maybe he checks these. I mean, if we include them in, let's color code these so we can get a much better idea. It's 18%. So 26% of the hands will represent that, and 73%. The question is, if I bet, how many of these hands fold? And given how it plays out, I'm not sure if a 10 plays. So we lost a hand. Not really sure I like how I played this. I think we should be c-betting this. And then when we do c-bet and we improve with that 5, I do think we probably bet again with our improvement. But if we did not improve with the club, then I think we check behind with our hand and go to the turn. So what does GTO say? So we set up villain checking, and then it looks to be a little bit more mixed strategy. We're not c-betting as much. Looks like we're c-betting about 65%. So not at that 90% that I was expecting. Our hand was 10-9 of clubs, and it is sometimes we're going mostly a third pot. So we're c-betting over pair. I think surprisingly it's a top pair. We're not c-betting top pair as much. And that was kind of, once we added top pair, then we had to start digging into a lot of our draws. So, GTO strategy is kind of playing sometimes bet, sometimes check with our top pair type hands. And then it's using for balance, again, our open ender, our gut shots, our over cards, 2-card backdoor flush draws, or some of these are being used to balance. So when we do check out of clubs and villain bets, right? We do have the call. We're calling with middle pair. That kind of makes sense. And then on the river, villain checks here, and what are we betting? Looks like 8-9 is our bluff. So I guess our value hand, and that's kind of the thing that gets me at this point, is that we did have some value with middle pair. We beat all of those pocket pairs. If we bet, I'm not sure if any of those call. So I just kind of feel like if we bet, we're probably only going to get called by worse. By better hands, and all worse hands are probably going to fold, and we beat those. So why not just check behind and take the showdown and save ourselves a little money? So I think that was the major mistake. It is interesting going back to the c-betting range that we're not c-betting our over pairs as much. So we're going to go ahead and say, let's bet, and he calls. And then we're betting less frequently at about 46%. Do we continue betting the club? And we are. Sometimes we're betting, sometimes we're checking. So I think this mixed strategy here with our club is reflective of trying to bring our percentages down so that we're not barreling too frequently. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. Kind of went through it. Not the best, but that's why we do this. Just kind of have to consider, why would I bet? And I'm not sure if I would be betting here as a bluff. Occasionally I will, and I think those are lapses in judgment. So hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you learned something. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.